Hello, my name is Ammar.
And I'm Oliver.
And I'm Jonathan. And today we're here to discuss some important questions. First, we have to talk about some quotes. Pick one of the quotes from Evie and one of the quotes from V to discuss. So we will start with the quote from Evie. We are told to remember the idea, not the man, because a man can fail. He can be caught, he can be killed and forgotten, but 400 years later, an idea can still change the world. So guys, what are your opinions on this quote? What does she think she mean? An idea can change the world still after 400 years.
Yeah, if it's a political idea, then it maybe can be powerful enough to change the world, even if the creator of the idea is dead.
Well, the quote says that a man can get forgotten, but never the idea, because a man can die, and the idea still exists and can be continued by other persons.
Yeah, I think that a man die when he's forgotten, not when he's poisoned by a mushroom, or not when he's shot with bullets. I think the man dies when he's forgotten. So
yeah, that's true.
So in this particular quote, I think she means that the idea will always be there. The idea can be passed on to other people, so not just one people.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay, what about the second quote, Oliver?
Well, a quote by Whedon.
Yeah.
People should not be afraid of the government. The government should be afraid of their people.
That is true.
Yeah, that's
I
very
agree
true.
with
Why,
that.
why do you think that's true?
Because the government think that they can play with the citizens of the country,
Yeah.
but the citizens of the country can also know what's happening in the government, and they can protest against the government if the government does something wrong.
Yeah, that's true. But in the end, it's always the people that decide what's
Yes.
happening in the society.
Yeah.
The government can just change the rules, but the people is the one who do them.
Yeah. I agree.
Do you have any other points you want to pick out, Jonathan?
I think when a country is changed, I think it's because the government, how do you say it in English? The government,
Convince.
yeah, the government convinced the people to do what the government wants to do. If the government wants to have a republic control in the country, then the government tells the people to have a republic control, and the people agree on it, and that's when the change is made. So yeah,
that's true. Should we continue to the questions to discuss?
yeah, man.
Okay.
Let's almost take this one.
Yeah.
No, let's take
You
it.
can take it.
Then I read it. Okay. What were your first impressions of Evie? Why? How was what happened to her parents affect her worldview? How does it motivate her to assist V?
Yeah,
Her parents, they got
they got murdered. didn't they?
murdered, or the government at least, they took them
Yeah,
because they protested for something they wanted.
the government was very corrupt in this movie. I agree with
Yeah.
that.
And the parents got what
Kidnapped.
kidnapped. Yeah, they kidnapped by the government because they stood up for their point.
Yes.
And that's why I think Evie was trying to do the same thing, because V was trying to change the world himself, just like her parents.
Yes. That's why I think that the V and Evie had so good relationship, because they had the same goal, but V did it in a different way, and but Evie did it. Evie didn't think that was right the way the V did it. It was very
Anmar, do you have
It was very brutal.
any?
Yeah,
Anything you
I
want to
agree
say?
with you guys. Nothing much I can tell you.
Okay, should we do question number 2 then?
Yeah.
how do your opinion of the character V change throughout the film? What is the effect of V always being behind the mask and never showing his face? Well, I think in the beginning I thought he was a bit creepy.
Yeah, me too.
Because he didn't say his name or show his face, and just shown up in an alley, in a dark alley. And later he just out of nowhere he blew up one of the building in England. But later you realized that he was doing something good.
Yeah.
Something good for the people, and he was trying to aim for his goal that when the V from the beginning had wanted to accomplish.
Yes.
What do you think about V throughout the movie?
Yeah, at first I thought he was, as you said, very creepy. He was very anonymous and very mysterious. I didn't know what kind of man he was. I didn't know what his motive was. I just knew that he wanted to change the government. As the movie keeps moving on, we learned that V's motive was to change the whole world, to change the government, to kill the government. And he began to fall in love with Evie, and that's where I think when he began to fall in love, when he first met her, I think that's the time he began to change as a character.
Yeah. Almar, do you have any points you want to
I agree.
keep to the
He
audience?
was pretty creepy at the beginning, but then when we learned what he was capable of and what he really wanted to his country, I started liking him more and more. Yeah.
Should we go to question number 3?
Yeah.
Why do you think so many rules have been imposed on society? Is it a positive or negative thing? How has it changed the society? Well,
Yeah.
the government had many strict rules about Vendetta's appearance. For example, he gave out the masks he wore
Yes.
in the movie to the citizens, and people who wore it were almost executed. You saw in one clip a little girl wore the mask, and she got shot
Yeah, that was very brutal.
just because she was wearing the mask of Vendetta. And I think that's a point where the government have gone too far,
Yes.
just because they want to stop V and his idea of how the society should be.
Yeah. Okay, my opinion. Yeah, why do you think some rules have been imposed in society? I don't quite get the question.
No, okay.
Why do you think so many rules have been imposed on society? Is this a positive or negative thing? Has it changed society? I don't know. What's your opinion on this? I don't quite get that.
Let me read it first.
Yeah. Question number 3, please.
Why do you think so many rules have been imposed on society? Is this a positive or negative thing? How has it changed society? I don't really understand this question, but maybe Oliver.
Well, I already pointed out my opinion, but I think they mean the rules that the government pointed out when Vendetta was active. For example, he forbidden all citizens to wear the mask.
Oh,
now
yes.
I understand.
Vendetta,
Mm.
and they didn't want the people to wear it because they were pointed out as terrorists for the country.
Yes.
So they were ready
That's
to
very
do.
offensive.
They were ready to do anything to stop the mask,
Exactly.
the man in the mask.
And that's why they shot everyone who wore it, or at least kidnapped or executed them.
Okay, on to question number 4. Were you shocked when it was revealed that V was behind Evie's torture? How did it change your opinion of V's character? How does the torture change Evie? So what do you think?
I think it was very smart of him. At first I thought like what is happening, and then I understand why he did it. to make her not fear of death and make her stronger inside of her.
Yeah, I agree with Almar over here, because when you go through something like that and you think it's the government, and you realize you're still going to die, but you do it for a good cause, I think later in life you will not fear death as much as you would have if you haven't gone through this process that V did to her.
Yeah, but don't you guys think that this method is way too brute for a young girl, a normal young girl?
Yeah, it's a
She feared for her life. She thought she would die. She was very scared.
yeah, that's true, but you can say it's a good or a bad thing, a good and a bad thing,
Yeah,
because
I
she
understand
learned
this.
she learned a lot of it, but the way she learned was a little bit too brutal for someone to go through.
I understand his thoughts. I understand what he meant.
Yeah.
So,
Should we keep on?
yeah,
Of course.
we're all day.
What is about Valerie's story that inspires Evie so much? How does Valérie's story inspire V?
So
That-
Valerie, who's that?
The lesbian girl in the story.
Oh, yeah. The one she brought home.
No.
The one she brought home when she
No,
when
in
she was younger.
when she was prisoner, and there was a toilet paper of a story.
Yes, and
In the story, she brought home a girl.
that's what
that
that's
girl,
what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, how
I
do you
thi-
think she was impressed by it?
yeah. I think just because she thought she was behind the other side of the wall, and she never knew Evie, and she told her everything in her life, and told her that she loved her, even though she never knew her or never saw her, and that made Evie like
Inspired.
inspired by her and wished that she could meet her.
Yeah, I think she also got inspired because Valère story, she was fighting for her rights as citizens, exactly as her parents did, and that's why I think she also was very inspired by the Valère's story.
Yes.
Any fun do you?
I don't quite got no. I don't got no opinions on this question.
Should we
really.
do the next question then?
Yes.
What does V for Vendetta say about revenge and forgiveness?
I have no idea. I don't
About
know.
revenge.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't.
What I think the movie is telling us, viewers, is that we don't have to take revenge too far. Sometimes we have to forgive and let it go.
Yeah.
I have seen many movies where one character takes revenge too far and sacrifices his own life just for revenge's sake. I think that's too. You need to learn how to forgive and how to let it go. Either ways you can't move on in life. That's what I think.
Yeah, sorry, I don't quite understand the question, so I think your answer was pretty accurate.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Question number 7 then.
7.
Do you see parallels between the government in the movie and the government in today's society? For example, the US. Do you believe we're moving closer to the kind of government shown in the film or away from it? What are the most important difference between our government and the one in the film? Do you understand the question?
Yes.
Do you see any
Parallels between the government in the US and the government in the movie.
Yeah.
Yes. If I see any parallels, I don't think so, but
You could almost say that it's I got a good parallel because the government in the movie was afraid that the persons wearing the masks were terrorists,
yes.
and now in the US, for example, the government, like Trump, is very strict against Muslim citizens because he expects they could be future terrorists for the country, and there you can see a very parallel between the movie and the today's government.
Yes, that's a good. That's a very good point
Yeah.
made there.
Okay. Next question. Then.
I can read it if you want.
Yeah, sure. Number 8 then.
8. Okay. The character of V is very complex. Some of his deeds are noble, while others are monstrous. In the film, he makes a threat to carry out one specific act on November the 5th of the following year. Is that the act of moral or immoral? Is it useful in a fight against tyranny? If a terrorist is someone who attacks citizens and civilian targets in hopes of influencing government, is the character V a terrorist, or is his deeds terrorism?
Well, yeah, you could say his deeds, they are like terrorism.
Yeah, yeah,
because in the end of the movie, he decides he wants to blow up. What is it?
The government parliament.
The parliament building. I don't know
Yeah.
what the building is called, but that's
The head building of the government.
yeah. That's very close to what terrorism do. They blow up buildings and themselves in crowded areas, and the area that the V blowed up was a very crowded place. So I think his deeds are very much like a terrorism.
Yes,
But I think his idea behind it was not the same as a terrorism.
I think the terrorists nowadays, they blow up buildings, big buildings to get everyone in the city observed. Like, for example, I take Empire State Building in 2011. 2001 was it?
No, it was the Empire State. Those were the Twin Towers.
Oh, the Twin Towers. Yeah. You could have written me. Okay, the Twin Towers in 2001, the 11th of September, when these two Twin Towers were one of the biggest towers in the world, and there were many people working in the towers and around. How do I say it?
Almost 3,000 people died.
Yes, I think that they blew up these two particular towers because there were so many people watched how much power and how much hatred the terrorists had for the US. They don't care. They just want people to see how big they are.
Yeah.
But that's exactly the same thing that V did. He blew up the main tower of the government to make the people see see how the government really are and how big he is.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, and
That's a very good statement.
yes, and his deeds, are they noble? What do you think?
No, that's a hard question because you didn't quite understand what his point were in the movie. You didn't get what the idea was behind it,
Yes.
and they didn't explain that very much. So you can't really answer that question to the fullest.
Yes, but he seemed like a noble man to me. He was.
Yeah, he seemed his acts as a
His
person.
He
Yes.
had good manners.
Yeah. He all the assassinations he made was perfectly smooth. He was very quiet. No one seemed to notice him when he
Yeah.
sneaked in the buildings.
And when he killed the person, he gave them a rose.
Yes, he did it very noble and very carefully, like an assassin.
Yeah,
Bismarck.
that
Yeah.
should be Roldic.
Yes.
V states that IDs are bulletproof. How would you interpret the meaning of this statement?
Bulletproof.
The IDs are bulletproof.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's a very good statement because
It's like the first one. When a person die, the ID still lives on.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
If you had an ID and you told everybody about it, but if someone shoots you, the ID is still there.
Yeah, the idea still lives on. It can't disappear.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
different from if a human being can disappear. If a human being gets shot, he die. But that's different. Idea will always remain in one's mind. And
Yeah, and to the others.
Yes.
Keep keep in the hearts of the people.
Yes.
Well then, last question then.
Yeah, finally.
Do you want to read it?
Oh,
Number 10.
thank you, Oliver. The movie deals with tolerance and intolerance. Are we more tolerant today than 100 years ago? Or do we just want to believe that we are more tolerant? What do you guys think about this?
Well, tolerance. Yeah, that's a good question, because we didn't quite get a good view on tolerance.
Yes.
You get a little few clips from 100 years ago when the real vendetta, I think it was living.
Falk. What? Guy Fawkes. Was that his name? The man they had based the mask off. Guy Fawkes. I think that. Yes.
Probably.
I think that we just believe that we are more tolerant today, because the movie, they in the beginning there was a small clip from a couple hundred years ago, but you didn't quite understand the meaning of that movie.
No, I think the guy who got killed in the beginning of the movie is the guy who had the ID.
Yes, the first idea.
And then
Right.
V got ID by the guy, but he got killed, but the ID still lives on. And V accomplished.
But I don't think that V was so old. Like this took place
No, but
100
it's-
years ago.
But it still lives
Yes,
on.
he had the
It
same
get
idea.
passed
Yeah.
down to
The mask V wears is basically based off this first man we saw in the first short clip.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, you can see that from V's backstory. He was treated really badly by the government. When he was at this house where the government kept some people, a secret organization. I don't know what you call it, but
people that were infected by a virus.
yeah, something, and he got burned, and that's why that's why he's wearing his mask.
Yes. He don't
Just to
want to
hide.
show his face.
Yeah, you can see that he didn't have that much tolerance then, because after a couple of years after the incident, he decided to execute every one of the people that was living that were treating him in the hospital, or what you say, because his body got destroyed just because the government didn't do as the law. They treated people really badly.
Yes.
Do you guys have any other thing to say?
I don't think I have so much to say. No.
Well, then I think it's a wrap then.
We're done?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
we're done.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to us. Bye bye.